Have you ever found yourself doing something over and over again and then thinking, why in the heck am I doing that? I wish I could just stop. Whether it's like sabotaging a diet or not exercising when you say you're going to, not making that call, not returning that item and getting the refund, not doing something so seemingly simple, but maybe boring that you know would support you. Well, I want to talk about something called rapid resolution therapy that I've gotten some training in. And this is the thing that completely shifted my identity. And I'm going to take you back to a time before I did this therapy. It's called therapy, but it's not technically therapy. But before I did this stuff, and I'm going to say I was 3 years sober from an addiction, and I did this rapid resolution therapy, and I did like an intensive 4-hour program. And I went back to a 12-step meeting and I went to introduce myself. And you know how it goes, right? Like you say you're an addict after you say your name. So here I go. I'm like, hi, I'm Karen. And I just stopped myself and I must have looked so crazy because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, wait a minute. It's like when someone tells you 2 + 2 is 5 and you're like, wait, no, or like, something more complex, but it just didn't add up. And like, I'm not an addict anymore. And then I was sitting there like, okay, what do I say? So I'm like, recovered addict, like it's not there anymore. It's no longer part of who I am. So let's back up. What the hell is this rapid resolution therapy? It's pretty freaking magical. And I've been practicing it now as a practitioner for about 6 months now, and the results are just blowing my mind. And as I've been practicing it, getting better and better, many people are getting significant results in just one session. And I'm like, what is happening? This is magical. So, what this does is it works a lot with the the subconscious mind. That was funny. Get it? Oh, maybe not. I'm crazy like that. So it works with I did it again, subconscious or unconscious. I'll just say unconscious mind because it's the same thing. And a lot of people are doing things like affirmations and they're saying like, I am abundant and I am skinny or whatever it is. And then their conscious mind is like, no, you're not. Look at your bank account, look in the mirror, and it doesn't match up. But here's the other thing. We are treating our unconscious minds, I'm going to say that, as if they have a PhD. And really, they're about as smart as a sheep. Yes, a sheep or a 4-year-old child. But nonetheless, if you tell a 4-year-old child, be abundant, they'll be like, what? But if you say stand on one leg, they can do that. Touch your head, they can do that. Make a silly face. Okay, now be courageous. It doesn't make any sense. So we're speaking to our subconscious minds as if they are as smart as our conscious minds, and they are not. It's a primitive part of the mind. They understand action-based commands like do the laundry, things like that, whether you want to or not. They understand that subconscious mind. So that's one part, is what are you telling it? What information are you feeding it? Because it's like speaking Mandarin Chinese to an English speaker. Like they would have no idea what you're talking about. So you must speak the language of the subconscious mind. Another part of it is the subconscious mind does not hear any negative words. So if you say, I don't want to get into an accident, you are telling your subconscious mind, I want to get into an accident. And it is going to search and it's on your side. It's always doing exactly what you tell it to. And it's going to find the perfect circumstance for you to get into an accident. And it's crazy, right? But just knowing that one simple thing, that it doesn't understand negation or negative words like I don't, can't, won't, no, none of that. None. It only understands positive. The other thing is it is always thinking in the present tense. So if you get triggered by something that seems like you're being triggered now, like somebody, your partner makes you mad or something, You are always 100% of the time reacting to something that happened in the past. But the subconscious mind isn't capable of thinking that there is a past. It doesn't know that there's a past. To the subconscious mind, something either just happened, is happening now, or is about to happen. And when you feel an emotion, that is your subconscious mind trying to get your attention to cause you to take an action. Now, if your partner triggers you right now, right? Like he says something and you're like, ooh, like that stung. And then you start to get mad. If you can stop yourself for just a moment and think back to what does that remind you of, or what story or belief is it bringing up that you don't want to believe about yourself? Uh, for example, it made you feel like you weren't being considered. Well, when's a time in the past, or maybe even the first time, when you felt like you weren't being considered, when you felt like you didn't matter or you were insignificant? That is what you're reacting to. And your subconscious mind is doing its best to protect you. And it's producing these chemicals which show up as an emotion in order to get you to take an action. When does it want you to take an action? Whenever that first thing happened. So if it was 30 years ago, it's like, do this thing so that you don't get hurt 30 years ago. And then you're snapping at your partner who's right in front of you, who might have said, did you get the mail today? And you're like, how dare you? And it sounds ridiculous, but we've all done it. We've all had these reactions. We're like, what the hell was that? Like, where did that come from? And our partners are the same. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. All I did was ask, did you get the mail? Like, where's this coming from? What's going on for you? So it makes sense once you know the mechanics. And when you feel the emotion train going, if you can just pause for a moment and take a breath and ask yourself, am I reacting to what's right in front of me? What did my partner really say? And there's underlying things. The subconscious mind is reading like all these millions of bits of information per second. So maybe he was thinking about something else and had a weird look on his face, or maybe he just looks weird. We're going with that one because that's funny. But whatever it is, your subconscious mind is processing all of these nonverbal cues. Could be the tone, it could be the cadence, it could be that it's sunny out or raining. Whatever is happening, your subconscious mind is producing chemicals that feel like emotions in your body, and it wants you to take an action on something it is reading as happening right now. And 99.99% of the time, that thing it's reading as happening right now is well over with. It's been over for decades for most of us. So we get stuck in these loops of these emotions and they make no sense. And when we get stuck there, our bodies are constantly on high alert, which means they're ready to fight or they're ready to run. Now, when you get the fight response that's triggered, that's usually from anger, your jaw gets really strong. Now, this works really well on the savannah. When a zebra gets mad and his jaw gets strong, he can bite somebody. Now, most adults don't run around biting people, I hope. Maybe Mike Tyson once in a bad moment. But now you can see how that can happen. Like something got triggered in his mind, his jaw got strong, and the animal instinct is to bite. So that is essentially how that happens. And once zebra is no longer in that situation that's triggering the anger, his nervous system resets immediately. So let's say that, he's drinking at the stream and he sees another zebra mounting his mate. Ooh, he gets mad. His jaw gets strong. His legs get strong. He runs over there. He bites the other zebra on the butt. The other zebra runs away. His nervous system resets immediately. So if you go up to that zebra, provided you speak zebra, and you say, hey, that must have really made you mad seeing another zebra mount your mate, you'd be like, what are you talking about? Because it's not happening anymore. He has no memory of it. And the same thing happens when zebra senses lion. Zebra feels fear. And when zebra feels fear, again, in both cases, the mind of zebra gets really dumb because It is not in zebra's best interest to think about all the options. Zebra needs to run like hell and outrun the slowest zebra. So once that happens and lion catches a zebra, our friend, Mr. Zebra, his nervous system resets. You ask him a few minutes later, man, that lion really scared you. He's like, what lion? So it works really, really well in animals, not so well in us. We can still tell you, our best friend that kissed our boyfriend in high school, we can tell you everything about it and still get just as mad. And our physiology will be just as reactive. Anything that happened in our past that we haven't processed will still affect our physiology. And the more of those events that you have, the more things, when your subconscious mind is scanning the environment, the more things it will find to be triggered to trigger that fight, flight, or freeze response. So, what do you do about all this? Well, all of that information, it's like data, and it gets stuck in the subconscious mind, kind of in glops. And we get to get the good news to the subconscious mind that there is no action necessary. There's nothing to be done. It's over with. And in this moment, you are safe. How do I do that? Well, rapid resolution therapy is the ticket. I mean, it is unbelievably quick. And the way it works is, number one, before I meet with a client, I'm setting an intention. And my general intention is that the client's mind will be entertaining thoughts that have value, thoughts about things that are possible to do. So if you are a 50-year-old woman, I don't want you necessarily trying out for the NBA. You could try out for the WNBA because that is more possible. But, as a 50-year-old woman that's 5'3", you're not likely going to make it into the NBA, right? So we want your mind to entertain thoughts that are possible for you to do and that would be good to have done. So there's lots of things we don't like to do, but when we think about if we had done it already, man, that would feel good. Like lots of us exercise or eating well or making that tough phone call, apologizing. Those would all be things that would be good to have done, and we would feel good afterward. We also want, my intention for people before they actually come in for a session is for their mind to attach interest and appeal to doing these things that would be good to have done and possible to do. And then I want their mind to attach satisfaction in having done them. So they feel really good afterward. And those components contribute to motivation, because once it feels really good to have done something, you will be motivated to do it again because you want to feel that good feeling. So that's my generalized intention. And then I ask people, what should I know? If we could change or improve anything about the way you think, believe, feel, act, or react, what should we get done today? And then we start talking, and I uncover through asking them questions like what it is that they really want. And then I help them phrase it in a way that the subconscious mind understands. Most people can tell you what they don't want, but we get to phrase it in a way of what they do want. So the subconscious mind starts to get that information. And then from there, once we have a very clear intention of how the client wants their mind to be, how they want things to be for them, usually it involves neutrality. Instead of reacting to something, being neutral, being in your power, having access to all your resources. So if you're an athlete, and do you think it would be better to be angry and work from adrenaline and have only a tiny percentage of your brain available? Or do you think it'd be good to stay calm and have all 100% of your resources available? So that's what's possible. And we're telling the subconscious mind stories using symbols, metaphors, language that it understands. And it is getting the good news that all of that past stuff is over with. It's all done. There's no action to be taken. And then we break up the information that's been stored in there in glops into smaller pieces where it can be filtered and put into long-term storage where you're not tripping all over it. And when that happens, I mean, this is like a miracle for me. it completely changed my identity. And I 100% believe that the root of addiction is unresolved trauma. Also, the root of all diseases that I know of is inflammation. And the root of inflammation, unresolved trauma. So if you have any type of pain in your body, any anxiety is a really big one. Depression, sadness, guilt, shame, grief, PTSD, trauma, if you've been through sexual trauma of any kind, rape, molestation, even guilt over having sex, anything like that. These are all things that can be resolved really, really quickly and easily with our RT. And you do not have to relive the traumatic events. That's a beautiful thing. I've been through tons of therapy, and I've talked till I was blue in the face about my childhood and what it felt like. And none of that, none of that talk therapy did anything for me. I've done EMDR, I've done tapping, I've done all the things. And this is the only thing that really worked for me. And it shifted me on such a profound level. So not only do I not go to 12-step meetings anymore, and it's been 6 years since I've been to a 12-step meeting and I'm still sober, I've been able to get off of 2 antidepressants, and pretty much I'm happy for no reason. I mean, I get sad occasionally, like when things happen, but my body resets. My mind works to reset itself. I've also gotten off of Adderall for ADHD. And think about ADD for a moment. It's essentially you have a poor attention span. Well, think about if you think there's a predator about to kill you at any moment, you are hypervigilant. And I grew up in a very chaotic environment, and I was hypervigilant in order to survive, or at least to not get hit. And my mind didn't get the message that I didn't need to be hypervigilant anymore. There's nobody around me that's going to hurt me. Like pretty much ever, no one's going to hurt me except maybe my dog, but not on purpose. I'm hypervigilant around her when we're playing. But when my mind got that message, I am 100% safe right now, then I could begin to meditate. If you asked me like 20 years ago if I ever thought I would meditate, I would have said, hell no. There's no way I could close my eyes and allow my mind to empty. There's no way that would ever happen. And think about it. If your mind is always scanning the environment, looking for predators, trying to survive, there's no way it's going to allow you to close your eyes and clear your head. If it thinks you're going to die, that's not going to happen. It also will not go into long-term building projects. So if you are hypervigilant and stressed out, it will be very difficult for you to get pregnant or to heal a broken bone or to heal from any sickness or illness or disease that you happen to get, because your body doesn't go into maintenance and repair if it's in fight, flight, or freeze all the time. So it can lead to a lot of long-term health consequences. So when you get all this stuff resolved, your body works. Your nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system clicks on when it's useful, which is almost never for humans. Like almost never are you in physical danger. And anger, for example, is a fairly useless emotion for most humans. Most of the time, we're not going to bite anybody. Like that's what it's good for, really. So you will also have access to all your resources. It's a beautiful place to be. You can be creative. You can't be if you think there's a predator waiting around the corner. You're never going to like, oh, I think I'll paint. Like, of course not. You're going to get the hell out of there. So you're not going to write like creative writing, poetry, a novel, anything like that if you think there's a predator waiting around the corner to kill you. So I am telling you this because this is freaking magic. And I want everybody to have this. I want everybody to go through this because it will change your life. And what I've seen is between 1 and 3 sessions is enough for people's subconscious minds to learn how to clear trauma on its own. So while you sleep, over the next, 30 to 60 days, your mind starts going through the Rolodex of difficult or traumatic experiences and just clearing them. And it groups them together in a brilliant, elegant way. So anything that is like anything else, it's like, oh, this is like this. So we can get rid of it. It's no longer happening. And over the course of a month or two, your energy level, your ability to focus and be present, your body's ability to heal, all of that is going to be reset. And it is brilliant. So if you have any interest, if I have piqued your interest at all, please reach out to me because I love this so much. It is so brilliant. And I would love, love, love to support you wherever you are on your journey. You can reach me at Karen@KarenSeltz.com. My name, Karen@KarenSeltz.com. And we can set something up because, man, you don't have to suffer anymore. So if you're not sleeping, if you have any anxiety, depression, anger, rage, all of those things, grief, guilt, shame, we can take care of it in usually 1 to 3 sessions. And ah, life is can be fun. It can be a game, but it can't be if you think you're going to die at every moment. And that is essentially what the subconscious mind is reading in certain data, especially if you've been avoiding something. So if you've avoided something over and over for long enough, your subconscious mind reads that data as very, very dangerous. Like, why else would you have avoided it? And it thinks if you do this thing, you could die. And for me, for a long time, that was picking up the phone to make a cold call when I was in sales before. Like, there's no way I would do that. I was terrified. So my mind, my subconscious mind read that as if you call somebody on the phone, you could die. Now, does that make any sense logically? No. And if you really examine your beliefs like that, the things that you're afraid to do, if you put them under a light, they won't make much sense. But even though they don't make much sense, you still probably won't be able to do them until you clear what's causing them. And I invite you to call me or email me. Email, that's what I gave you, my email. And we'll get it taken care of for you. Thank you so much for watching Irresistible You, Ignite Your Passion and Purpose. I won't be here next week. My daughter's graduating from high school, so don't tune in live. But I will be back in 2 weeks. All right, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Mwah.